She's coming.
She's not coming?
She is coming.
Okay, let's start.
Yeah, she is coming.
Okay, thanks for coming, everybody, and thanks to Senator Stabenow, Smith, Cortez Masto. Quiet back there. Well, we know it's a big week in the Capitol, State of the Union, and this week we wanted to highlight some of the Senate Democrats' accomplishments under President Biden's leadership for American families. When President Biden comes before Congress to deliver his State of the Union, Americans will hear a clear theme. America's economy is growing, inflation is slowing, and the Democratic agenda is delivering. Today, many Americans are paying less for insulin than they did a few years ago, thanks to the Democrats in the Senate and House and the President. Seniors on Medicare have a cap on prescription drug spending. No longer does a serious illness mean seniors have to spend thousands of dollars on prescription drugs. That's huge. Hey, folks. Thank you. And thank you. Despite so many naysayers who predicted a recession, inflation slowed without causing a recession. It's 2.8%. No one thought it would be this low now. And the Inflation Reduction Act is projected to create another 1.5 million jobs, good-paying jobs, over the next decade. But I wanted to point out another part of our agenda delivering beyond anyone's wildest expectations: the surge in clean energy and clean energy jobs. To quote the New York Times, quote, "Clean energy manufacturing is booming. Thanks to investments Democrats made in the Inflation Reduction Act, in CHIPS and science and other bills, clean energy investments last year reached over $230 million. For context, that's triple the investment levels of 2019, just 5 years ago. And while $230 billion can seem hard to visualize, the practical impact of these investments are just beginning. 15 million jobs since Biden took office. 15 million jobs. Americans see these investments at work in EV battery plants, new construction sites, good-paying jobs that will stick around for years. These are jobs for the future. They're not going away in a year or two. And in time, Americans everywhere will see these investments in their wallets, but also in their futures. Less pollution, cleaner air, fewer kids getting asthma and other illnesses. That's something we are really proud of. Sometimes it takes a while for the effects of an ambitious agenda to take root. Look at ACA. But today the evidence is starting to come in. The work that President Biden and Democrats put in over the past few years is paying off in a big way for our country. Americans are beginning to take notice. Senator Stabenow.
Yes, thank you, Senator Schumer. Tomorrow, as we know, the President's going to deliver his State of the Union address. And, you know, when we think back 3.5 years, this President inherited a mess. Schools were closed. We were trying to figure out how to keep people safe. Too many deaths, too many people in the hospital because of COVID, small businesses on edge. There was such a crisis in our country. And we saw them lean in, specifically, caring about people, putting people first every single day. And so where are we now, 3.5 years later? Under the President's leadership, and I'm so proud we partnered with him, we've created, as Senator Schumer said, nearly 15 million jobs. That's the most of any president in their first term. 15 million jobs. Nearly 272,000 of those in clean energy. And I can tell you in Michigan, where we do clean energy manufacturing, you know, we make things and grow things in Michigan. And we are at the heart of what we are seeing in terms of a manufacturing renaissance. And it's really exciting. We've got 46,000 projects across the country rebuilding America around infrastructure. 46,000 new projects. We're rebuilding America, and we're including things like high-speed internet as part of infrastructure. That has never been done before. The truth is, we are rebuilding America, bringing jobs home, and investing in our own people. And that's why wages are up, the stock market is up, the number of new businesses being created is up. And the things that need to be going down are starting to go down. Prescription drugs and the pricing of prescription drugs being at the top of the list. We have heard forever about how somebody needs to take on the drug companies. Well, Joe Biden did. The Democrats in the House and the Senate did, without one Republican joining us in doing that. And as we know, Republicans still are on the side of the wealthy and well-connected. Let me just remind folks that when they did their tax bill, the drug companies got a 40% cut in their taxes. That's what they did. We're giving people a cut in their insulin costs, in their cancer drugs, in the medicines that they need to stay alive and thrive. So the bottom line is, Democrats are putting people first, and as the President will talk about tomorrow night, we're just getting started.
Good afternoon, everybody. So Democrats are delivering on our promise to the American people to lower health care costs. For the first time, seniors insured on Medicare Part D have a cap on their out-of-pocket costs. And next year, not one single person, not one senior over the age of 65 will pay more than $2,000 a year for their prescriptions. Folks with Medicare who rely on insulin to manage their diabetes only pay $35 a month for this life-saving drug. The federal government can finally negotiate with pharmaceutical companies on the price of the most popular medications. And this is going to bring down drug prices for everyone in America. Now, pharma might not like this, but the American people do. Democrats are expanding choice and affordability for people who buy their health insurance on the insurance exchanges. And we've expanded the number of people whose premiums can be reduced and made more affordable through tax credits. And all of this is paying off. Over 21 million Americans signed up for marketplace insurance coverage, and that includes 5 million people who signed up for the very first time. That means these enrollment numbers are historic. More Americans have health insurance. Now, Democrats are working hard in Congress to address also the mental health challenges that so many of our neighbors and community members and family members are experiencing. And we're doing that by expanding the health care workforce, by holding accountable the bad actors who are in the business of denying health care coverage and delaying care for the patients who need it most. And all of this is coming together as the Biden administration is tackling the influence of private equity and consolidation in health care, which is also driving up costs and leaving too many patients without access to care. So bottom line, Democrats are lowering health care costs for Americans, and we still have more to do.
Thank you, and Senator Cortez Masto.
Thank you. So if you're with me in my state, you hear this all the time. Democrats, the Biden-Harris administration, we've been delivering big for our communities. And, you know, you don't have to take our word for it. Just go talk to folks in our state. Because I can tell you, if you come to Nevada, you will see the benefits of the Bipartisan Infrastructure Jobs Act, the Inflation Reduction Act. Because with the Biden-Harris administration, the Democrats, we have passed this. This is life-changing. This isn't just something 1 year, 2 years. These are big, bold investments for the future for our communities across this country. And you see it. You see it in the economy, the benefits there, in combating the climate change, in creating millions of good-paying jobs across the country. And I will say, many of them organized labor. We have, and I will say this, we have heard the joke all the time that the last administration talked endlessly about Infrastructure Week. I remember I was in Commerce Committee. We would have hearings. People would get, the panelists would get there to talk about infrastructure, and nothing happened. Nothing happened until the Biden administration got into the White House, until the Democrats took control, and then we actually made it happen. We are listening to our community, and we are actually solving the problems that they care about. In my home state of Nevada, when I ask businesses and workers about what's been the biggest impact for them, they always tell me it's the Inflation Reduction Act and the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law. And I was just home. We're talking about this. Right now, we are going to have the Brightline West project from Las Vegas to Southern California. This is going to be the first high-speed rail project in the country, thanks to the work the Biden-Harris administration has done with the Democrats. And it is going to boost Southern Nevada's tourism economy. It is expected to create over 35,000 jobs in the state of Nevada, and those are union jobs. We're also investing in cutting-edge new technologies, from electric batteries to green transportation. You hear this all the time. Thanks to those two pieces of legislation, in Nevada, it has been a game changer. Nevada alone encompasses every facet of the lithium-ion battery economy, from the mining of lithium deposits to the research and development to the manufacturing and assembly, and finally to recycling operations. That has come about because of these laws that we have passed. And again, they have incredibly impacted our economy in a positive way. They've created jobs, and we're having a positive impact on the climate crisis that so many families care about. So the statistics alone should be enough, right, to tell you what we have done here with this game-changing. But just talk to the individuals. Come to my state. Talk to the people that are actually working in these jobs. See from my seniors who know that we have capped the cost of insulin, and now we are negotiating prescription drug prices that have put more money in their pockets. It really shows the difference between who's standing with our working families and who would rather, really at the end of the day, think about big corporations and their own political gain. I can tell you right now, the Biden-Harris administration, working with Democrats, cares about our working families. They want to ensure everybody has that opportunity to succeed. Thank you.
Thank you. We had three great senators, and now we're ready for some questions. Way down there. You got to talk a little louder.
You're losing two members of your party who oppose ending a filibuster. With them gone, will you make another attempt at doing that?
Well, look, I've always said that when people attempt to courts or legislators take away voting rights, particularly of the most disenfranchised people, we have an obligation to do everything we can to restore those voting rights. Yes.
Senator Menendez is facing another round of indictments. Is it time for him to resign? And if it's not time yet, what will it take?
Look, the bottom line, as I've said, the Senate has certain standards that we must live up to. I am very disappointed that Senator Menendez has not lived up to those standards.
But why are you okay with him serving in your caucus, sitting on committees, attending classified briefings when he's been charged with bribery, conspiracy, obstruction of justice? As
I've said, the Senate has standards. We should all be living up to those standards. I'm deeply disappointed that Senator Menendez has not.
Schumer,
yes.
I know your position on Israel, but based on some of the heat that the president is getting from the left and the Democratic Party, if he pivots in his State of the Union address tomorrow night, does that change things the way that Democrats perceive it? Is that something he needs to do?
I'm not speculating on what the president should say in the State of the Union, except to say he will show what good, strong shape America is in. Yes. Well, as you know, many of the bills we've passed are bipartisan, and of the big bills we passed in 2022, they were bipartisan, and we're going to work very hard on many different things. We want to get insulin for $35 for everybody. We want to work on making sure that health care is improved. We believe very strongly in so many things, and we are going to continue to work on the agenda that we put before us. We first have to fund the government. The supplemental is very important, but after that you will see us turn to many of the bills that we passed, the SAFER Act, safety on the rails, recoup, so many other things. Last one.
On the subject of Robert Menendez, you reappointed him last month to the Senate National Security Working Group as staff in the budget. Why was it appropriate to reappoint him given the
As I said, the Senate has certain standards that every senator must live up to. Senator Menendez has not. I am deeply disappointed in him. Thank you, everybody.
Should there be a